Hello again, we're here with Matt Hand, our psychologist with performance issues for our athletes. Now I thought it'd be a good idea for us to talk initially through issues relating to when an athlete loses a bout and what things may help them to bounce back quickly. Matt, would you like to just talk us through?
Definitely. If we look at the statistic that 50% of people that get in the ring are going to lose, 50% are going to win. There's only two people in there, so one's going to be a winner, or the victor, and one's going to be the person that doesn't win the fight, unless it's a draw, of course.
And we don't like draws.
We don't like draws. So if we look at I suppose the feelings associated with losing a fight to start with, for most fighters in their career, unless they're particularly gifted or particularly lucky, there will be a loss that does come through at some stage. It might be 1 from 30, it might be 29 from 30, depending on the calibre of athlete and who they're fighting.
Now I should just say, for those who aren't intimately involved with the sport, a win ratio of 80% is phenomenal. It's not like professional boxing where they have an undefeated record. Muay Thai, an 80% record would put over 100 fights would put you in potentially put you in the superhero class. So it's just important for everyone to understand that losing a Muay Thai fight, it's like losing the rugby league, for example. The Broncos might lose 6 or 7 games during the season and still be the eventual winners of the Shield. So it's important that people not get fixated about the losing 2 or 3 fights in a row means an athlete should be retiring. Absolutely,
good point. Very good point. Some of the feelings associated with losing a bout, generally there's disappointment. Down, they can feel sad after a fight. Depending on the age of the fight and the way that they cope with that, some will go home, chill out and do nothing. Some will hang out with their mates. Some fighters may not go to training for a couple of weeks afterwards because they just feel that sense of disappointment, not only of letting themselves down, but also their trainers and the team that are working with them. Depending on the age group as well, some will go out and they'll have a few drinks and let their hair down, and that's the way that they let off the steam of losing a fight. There's really no right or wrong way to come through, as long as it's not detrimental to your health over a long period of time, where you're not going out and causing harm to yourself or to other people. The feelings of sadness or loss or disappointment, or the anger that may come with losing the fight, they do pass. This is important to remember. This is only one fight out of a career, which may be 100 fights, maybe 20 fights, it may be 10 fights, depending on what your goals are to achieve in the sport. And you can take away a lot of learning lessons from a loss in the ring as well. It's a good time to reflect back on what you did wrong, and also what the other fighter did right. It does highlight in you some weaknesses which you can turn into strengths by altering your training tactics. A lot of fighters, and the ones that do get disheartened after one fight and drop out, tend to look at it as a loss. They take it personally. They think that they'll never be getting good at it, and that's the end of their career. Yeah.
I should say, from our point of view, our federation acts as a sport, and we have our superheroes.
Yep.
But part of Muay Thai is being part of a large family, both nationally and internationally. And the fact that an athlete may lose a fight or decide he doesn't want to fight on doesn't mean we want him lost to the sport. We want him turned into a referee, a judge, a trainer. There's all these aspects of Muay Thai, even a lawyer turned into a video maker. So we want everyone to see that the actual competition in the ring is one part of the sport.
Absolutely.
But we're there for the greater, much broader interests of fitness and family and fun. So it's important that we don't get fixated about the concept of losing an event, even though we all like our heroes.
We do. And I think that's a good point, John, that Muay Thai has become such a long way from where it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago to turning into a professional sport today in Australia, where there is quite a large community of people that do follow the events and the sports, both on TV and at live venues. And certainly a lot of the fighters are becoming more well known in the public eye.
Oh, certainly. I was recently in Asia for the filming of the final of the Contender Asia, and there was almost mass hysteria with some of our athletes. John Wayne Parr was greeted like a superhero. So all these issues of preparation and dealing with loss are going to be more and more important to us as hopefully more and more of our athletes become full-time professionals. Now, I suppose that brings us to the other aspect of issues that come out of winning a fight. Now, it's all well and good to win, but then that's your moment of glory is with that win. Now, how do we then move to preparation for the next bout?
Definitely. Resting on your laurels. It's a big one. It is one fight. It's one competitor that you've beaten at that point in time. And it's great for the ego, great for the confidence, great to move your training along and certainly step it up to the next level. It's also a good excuse not to do any more because you think, I've won the fight, I'm good, and I can rest being at this particular level that I'm at. It is one fight. And there's someone that's looking, once you step up the ladder, that's looking to take your place. Incredibly important to remain committed to the process. The same thing you do when losing a fight, you do when winning. Analyse the fight. See where you went wrong, see what you did well, see what the other fighter did well as well. Were there any of your own weaknesses highlighted? Things that you can work on if you are planning on making this a career. And we do hope that there's more fighters that step into it, make it a career and increase the profile of Muay Thai in Australia. Then part of it is treating it seriously.
Yes.
And go out there, celebrate the victory by all means, and then come back to training. Take time off. Your body needs time to rest and recover. And I think from Saul with the interviews with Dr. Geffen, he would have the same type of advice. Certainly take time to rest physically, but as well as mentally. A fight is a draining event from the point that you put a lot of energy into it, a lot of mental energy into it. It's not just going into the ring and throwing a few haymakers and hoping that you win. It is a tactical sport, and there is thought that does go into it. So having time to rest, to recover, to recuperate, to celebrate the victory with family, friends and trainers, and then to come back to training with a fresh perspective every time, wanting to learn, listening to your trainers, and knowing that just because you won one fight or 100 fights, you still don't know it all.
No, I think that really is a good point to make, and it's a point that our senior trainers, I'm very aware of, bring home to their athletes all the time, that Muay Thai has become very popular, largely because of the nature of respect that its athletes show to their trainers and those around that also respect the sport as for its traditions and for its uniqueness. Matt, we might leave it there. Thank you very much again.
No worries, mate.